I have a fresh set of PS3 greatest hits to talk about, and there's at least one that I know is going to leave you scratching your head as to why. But I feel the majority of these titles are really interesting to dig into for one reason or another, so I'd appreciate a like, comment, or sub if you end up learning something new that you didn't know 5 minutes ago, perhaps. Now, let's get into the PS3 greatest hits. The first game is Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. I've not played a Naruto game before. I've never watched it. I've never read it. I have no exposure to Naruto whatsoever. I think the only reason is that it looks childish compared to other things that I'm more interested in. And I can't deny there's a huge following for Naruto or claim that it's not successful because I know it is. You know, my first exposure to the Dragon Ball universe was through the Budokai series on the PS2, and I learned all about the various sagas and storylines, so maybe I'll do the same thing with a Naruto game. But how hard is it to get your hands on a greatest hits copy of the Ultimate Ninja Storm 3? Turns out this game is rare. It's not impossible, but it's definitely one that I would put on my list to pick up now, because compared to other games that we've covered, or even those in this episode, supplies are very limited. And why might this be? It's because the black box variant of the game came out at the very end of the PS3 life cycle. And then with just a few months before the PS4 release, the greatest hits came out in very limited supply. The good news is I don't think the world knows how rare this is yet, so sorry. But you can still pick it up for about $15 on eBay. But real collectors, and probably those who run real legit video game stores, know that this goes for closer to $30. So this might be one of those rare times where I suggest you do not buy this locally, as I feel you'll have a better chance at finding a deal online, as well as reducing the risk of missing out on it due to low supplies. Those in the know will know that this game has tripled in value over the last 3 or 4 years. Just the red box variant though. But if you just want to play the game, the black box burst version, which is considered the complete version, it's much easier to find, so you won't miss out on this game at least. The second game today is Borderlands 2. This is probably the best game in the Borderlands series due to the villain Handsome Jack. As far as villains go, he's right up there with the likes of Arkham's Joker or GLaDOS from Portal or even the Elusive Man from Mass Effect. I love a good villain much more than the hero of a game, since oftentimes when you're playing, you can have a great game and a main character who barely speaks a word, but to have a great villain that keeps the story going, that's where the real genius is, in my opinion. And Handsome Jack is brilliant. And Borderlands 2 as a whole is a great game that builds on everything that the original Borderlands got right and cranks it up to 11. Borderlands 2, the original greatest hits, is very common. It's the Visa of video games because it's everywhere that you want to be. You won't escape this one. Now the Game of the Year version, that's a different story, and I'll tell you right now on that one, prioritize that one now. But the base game here, just wait to find this in the $5 bundle bin and pick it up there. Even though it has jumped in price $1 or $2, I just can't see this one shooting to the moon anytime soon, given how plentiful the inventory is out there. Max Payne is a series that I haven't personally touched since the original one on the PS2 when I was a teenager. And I recall not really understanding what I was playing or what was really going on. You have to understand that I didn't play games like this. I went from basically the Sega Genesis to the Dreamcast, from side-scrolling to full 3D, and the only games that I really played in between were fighting or racing games. So the idea to me that there are rich stories to tell like this was a bit much for me. But now fast forward 25 years and this kind of game is mainstream, widely accepted, easily understood. Long story short is that I need to get into the Max Payne series again, including Max Payne 3, that we're just going to talk about here right now, and specifically the complexity to find this title as a PS3 Red Box Greatest Hits variant. Can it be done? Well, it can be. However, this is a rare title. It's not sold very often online, so the trending data isn't there. However, I did see it for $20 to $30 shipped to your door when I checked at the time of filming this. And I hate to say it, but it's probably worth it to secure a copy. This one's only going to go up. Do make sure your copy says Greatest Hits on the cover and on the disc though. You do not want to pay up for the wrong copy, and this is not as hidden as some of the other Greatest Hits games. It's more known that it's harder to find, and some of the shady sellers out there will try to trick you with just a red case and having the regular version in it. Saints Row 4, and just so we're clear, we're talking about the original Saints Row 4, the base game, not the National Treasure Edition. That really matters for this discussion because the National Treasure Edition is super common. The regular edition that we have here is super rare. So rare, in fact, that I found a single copy online for at the time of this filming. The price does not reflect how insanely rare this is yet, so again, sorry. It's just not sold enough to capture a trend, but I did see it for about $15. Folks, this is the holy grail of Saints Row 4. I would almost classify this as impossible to find. So if I were you, I'd go find it now if you're serious about collecting the PS3 Greatest Hits collection. Pause this video, secure your order, and come back because there's another eyebalger coming up soon. So double check your discs and your covers, make sure it's correct. Don't get the National Treasure Edition by mistake, as that one is going to be everywhere. Do you want to know why? I'll tell you why. It's because the original Saints Row 4 finally made Greatest Hits status when the DLCs were already out and they were done and everyone had them, everyone played them. Developers of Saints Row 4 realized that they could sell a lot more of the $20 Greatest Hits titles if they included all of the DLCs in the purchase. So the regular version of the Greatest Hits was pulled from shelves overnight and then quietly shifted to the National Treasure Edition. The original had a really low print run, as this shift was early on its life cycle as well, so good luck finding it. Rainbow Six Vegas 2, I just don't have it in me to talk a lot about this one. I haven't played it, and it's common, folks. You'll find it in the $5 bargain bin at your conventions. It may be $5 to $8 on a store shelf. If you opt to buy this one online, which I don't recommend that you do, you'll pay upwards of twice this amount. It's not worth that. It's not that rare. It's common. The prices are not going to go up on this one either. They've trended flat for as far as I can see. The Rainbow Six series has undergone changes though. It started as strategy and planning in the very beginning, and that's where I started playing it on PC. And then during this Vegas era, it became more of an action cover shooter. And then in modern times, since Siege, it's just all about power. And I'll say if you're like me and just have bad memories of the original Rainbow Six, these Vegas games might be the best in the entire series, as they do offer a full single-player campaign. If you liked Star Wars Republic Commando, which I did, you might enjoy Vegas 1 and 2. So perhaps I'll take my own advice and I'll give these a try for myself someday. Alright, here is a mixed bag. It's Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. Some people hate it, some people tolerate it. I don't know anyone else that loves it. I played a demo when this originally came out and I fell into the tolerated it crowd, but I honestly barely remember it. I do want to play it, however. But this specific copy is very interesting, as I did a bit more research on it here. It's the Schrodinger's cat of PS3 Greatest Hits. You see, on the spine, the product code is going to be 30750GH, the GH standing for Greatest Hits. And I originally bought this as a sealed copy, and I left it sealed. I mean, if I had left it sealed anyways, I'd never have known what I'm about to share with you here, and you should treat this as a cautionary tale when buying sealed products. My copy inside is actually the Black Label variant, but I bought this sealed, and I'm fairly certain it wasn't resealed, as when you open a new game, you kind of get that smell, and I bought it from a retail store, not a third-party reseller on eBay, and it definitely had that smell. So I'm pretty confident that this was factory sealed. Now, I recently also did a video where another game that I had that odd-looking case, and this copy of Operation Raccoon City has that same darker red colored case with the inlets on the side that look a little bit different with some lines in them. And they happen to both be Capcom games, which got me thinking, did Capcom do something maybe? Or was it coincidence? It turns out Capcom did do something. They were basically clearing out the warehouse, and they made some late print runs. This explains why the cases are a bit different. But why both games have black label discs? Well, Capcom printed off the greatest hits cover art, and then they pulled their stock of black label discs that they had in their warehouse and repackaged them in. Really crappy thing to do in my opinion. So be cautious when ordering a sealed copy of this, as I seem to find more sealed than I do opened. Or really any of the Capcom games in general, just be cautious. Because late print runs were made with extra stock. And check your disc before buying to make sure that it has the greatest hits on disc. You can tell if you have this weird Franken game by the product code on the disc. It's only going to say 30750 and also not include the GH. I feel duped with this copy, and I bought it from VGP, so I'm again confident that it wasn't resealed. So this time I'm going to say it's near impossible to find a real, honest-to-goodness copy of Operation Raccoon City in pure greatest hits format. They obviously exist out there, but I'm afraid that they're just not obtainable by your average game hunter. As long as it's sealed and you don't open it, Schrodinger's cat, you have a greatest hits labeled disc inside. But the second that you open it, you have a dead cat or a black label disc inside. SOCOM 4 is up next, and the SOCOM series is not one that I've ever played. However, my brother was heavily into the SOCOM series, and I tried one of the earlier ones on the PS2, but it just wasn't my jam. And by trying it, I mean I gave it about a half an hour's chance. But I won't knock this series, as I know it's super popular and was one of the early console online multiplayer games. Even though I don't really get into multiplayer games, unless it's World of Warcraft. Good lord, have you tried the new Midnight expansion? I think it's brilliant, but I digress. How hard is it to find a copy of SOCOM 4 on the PS3 for greatest hits? Harder than you might think. I went 2 years before I found this copy, and I haven't seen one since. Online, the density is pretty low enough to be bordering on rare. I also want to point out that I have seen 2 variations of this. The first is your expected red box with the red printed cover art like you see here. The second is a rare treatment in the terms of greatest hits, but one that we have seen before where the case itself says greatest hits on it as a sticker. And the only way to tell that you have that copy is to have a sealed copy, because the sticker is on the plastic wrap itself, stating greatest hits at the very top. I honestly don't know which one is more rare or valuable. But either way, this game's going to be all over the place in price. $15 to $25 seems pretty reliable if you can find it, and I would definitely prioritize this one if I were you. The supply is definitely drying up. The final game for this episode is Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. Now, if you're like me, you haven't touched a Gran Turismo game since the very first one, where you were blown away by the graphics on the original PlayStation. This series was an absolute marvel in gaming, but I just feel it was totally beat out by the Forza series when that came out. And I'm not even an Xbox fanboy here. I just have always enjoyed Forza more than I did Gran Turismo. But again, I haven't played one in decades. I grew more into the arcade racers like Need for Speed or Forza Horizon games. They just resonate better with me. But how hard is it to find a copy of Gran Turismo 5 Prologue? Well, if the price trend is any indicator, it's becoming harder to find. It's going up about 5% every year for the last 5 years, and currently hovers around the $10 price point at game stores and conventions. You're not likely to find it in your local bargain bundle bin, but the game is pretty common. It'll be found in most places that might sell an assortment of greatest hits PS3 titles. Even online, this is going for roughly $10, so really take your pick on how you want to purchase it. I even saw a sealed copy similar to the SOCOM 4 that had a regular version, but with a sticker on the sealed wrap stating greatest hits. It's pretty nuts. I didn't know those even existed, but I don't care about them for my own collection. Just make sure that you look at the real pics of the cover art, the disc, and the manuals, and don't assume. And if you buy them online, don't be afraid to ask questions. Wow, there's a lot of variation in those PS3 games that I didn't even know about until I started researching them for this video. Games like SOCOM 4 and Gran Turismo, who knew about those stickers? I didn't. And what about Saints Row 4 and Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City? Can they be near impossible to find? I told you a bunch of these were actually really interesting to talk about. Leave a comment with what your biggest wow moment was, and I can't wait to get back to this series again with another episode right here on Let's Build a Collection.